Hey folks, Nick here, recapping the day. What is it? 7-9. I'm going to say it's an ugly day, even though the scoreboard is green. Um, the reason why I'm saying it's ugly is proven in the fact that the VIX closed up 1.27% when it was down like 5 or 8 or 9 or 10 or 3% throughout the day. What was ugly about it is this to that. What is this and what is that? This is the high of the day after a nice overnight session. That's the S&P ES minis. And higher than yesterday's high, well off yesterday's low. Look where we closed. Why? Mostly because of this. What is this? Can you believe it? It's Apple. 119.22. This is no normal action in Apple. This candle right here it warned, fell to here. This is not normal. My speculation, and it's pure speculation on my part, is you cannot convince me that the fundamentals change in Apple from making $1 zillion, selling everything they make, to, oh my gosh, China's falling apart, Apple's going to die. It's down 2% basically closed, but it was well over 2% at the worst of the day. That is somebody selling because of a reason that has nothing to do with fundamentals. Somebody selling because of a reason that has nothing to do with fundamentals. What do I mean? If somebody's in a jam, they need to cover margin calls because they have losses in the China markets or this or that or oil. That's where we run to the piggy bank and sell an asset. And if they hold Apple stock, they have to sell Apple stock to cover whatever shortcomings they have. They can't go to the bank and say, here's $3 million. They sell $3 million worth of Apple stock in order to cover it. And the fact that it came in bursts tells me that. Here's a burst, and then another one here, and another one here, and another one by, this is the biggest one right there, which marked the bottom for the day. Apple did not close as ugly as the indices. Then the NASDAQ, new low at the close between yesterday and today, even lower than yesterday. Small caps, no. That's the good news. That small caps held relative to the low of yesterday. The ES held a little bit, but not by much. So now the ES, which is the S&P basically, needs to hold, absolutely needs to hold that level. I showed you why before, because of this right there. We need to hold that 204 level area, or there'll be talk of more head and shoulder performance downwards, another 2 to 5% right away in the markets. The danger is there. It's still binary. What does that mean? It's either will happen or it won't, and it's because of the headlines. And unfortunately now we have two things in the headlines, Greece and China. China made it impossible to sell, so the China thing is still iffy, but maybe not as iffy as the Greek thing. Greece is the decision is imminent. You know, the proposal is imminent. We're waiting this hour, that hour, this hour, that hour. Anyway, it's been years, but it's due today and tomorrow. And we don't know if we're going to hear back from the Eurozone saying, oh, this is junk, forget about it, deal is off. This weekend you either do it or you don't, or you walk out of the Euro, and that would be very bad for the markets, and we fall hard. Or they'll say, you know, this is a good start, let's talk, and markets will rally on hopium like they did this morning. That was the rally this morning, on hopium. All right, so what do we do now? We do nothing new. Everybody's saying, let's do this, let's do that. You don't do anything. What do you know today that's more than what you knew yesterday about how Greece is going to unfold and how China is going to unfold? Nothing. I don't know anything new today. Nothing. All I know is that the deadline is looming, and it's just another deadline. They're going to kick the can, in my opinion, hopefully. But hopefully they'll kick it with like some authority down like 2 years or something. But anyway, the problem is still here, and the outcome is binary, and it will take our markets down with it. You saw today, Apple is not immune. Down 2% is something strange going on. There was a note from Goldman Sachs, but I doubt it. It's all on, unless a big whale unloaded everything. I just doubt it. And I don't think Apple is allowed to buy stocks right now because it reports soon enough, so they're not allowed to do that. You can't buy your own stock when you know the outcome of the report that's going to come out. That's kind of like insider trading. So they lock them out. There's a period of time, I'm not exactly sure, but this could be it. So what do? You try to catch Apple if you want to. I mean, yesterday I took a debit call spread. Today it took a haircut. It was up this morning, and then it took a haircut. So I added some to it just because, nothing has changed for me. It's the same play as yesterday. If you want to sell credit put spread into it, like out to September, you could have collected 50, 60 cents down to close to $100. But there's no rush in doing that. I don't like to hold credit spreads into earnings. But, you can do all of that stuff. But I don't do anything fundamentally big with all this uncertainty. So you've seen me quiet as far as new trades. Hey, here's what we can do. Here's what we can do. It's irresponsible to start new trades. I told you on these bounces, you fix whatever trades that are making you sweat yesterday. All right. So I have risk, but I have some protection where I need protection, and the risk is far out in time that I can close it with a relatively small loss. Unless we crash 10, 15%, then nobody's immune to losses. All right, so these are the environment we're in. All headlines right now. All my homework, all your homework, all other people's homework is almost null and void short term. When the headlines hit, the markets are going to move following the headlines, up or down. We don't know. That's why it's a binary event, like a coin flip. That's why we don't start anything new. Yes, today credit put spreads look great in Apple on this drop. It may be the opportunity of the year. But if we get a bad news tomorrow from Greece, Apple will drop. So it will look even better tomorrow. I'm willing to miss out on a few upside bucks. So do nothing new big right now. Nibble out in time. Fix your current position, balance out the portfolio, yes. But new fundamental big trades right now, not very realistic or responsible. To make matters worse, we have Fed noise, Fed speak noise. We had a couple of 2 or 3 Feds speak today. Evans was bullish, he's always bullish. George wasn't, he always isn't. So they're just mucking up the picture. But right now we're not focusing on the Fed, but we will tomorrow because El Jefe will talk. Janet Yellen will speak tomorrow somewhere mid-morning, and she will move markets. She will move markets up if she hints at the fact that they are market dependent and they are indeed paying attention to the Eurozone as part of this market that they're looking at. If she says, if she talks about it in the third person, like, oh yeah, we're market dependent. Oh, and they're also looking at that other stuff going on over there. But we're going to focus on our stuff for now. Markets will read that she's going to raise rates regardless, and they would not like that. So she will speak. She will move markets. She did that after the March move. In March, she said not raising rates in April. Markets ran 100 points. Like a few days later, she came onto a Friday meeting like today, like tomorrow, and said something that told me that she's definitely raising rates in this year, whether we hit the inflation targets or not, and whether the data said to do it or not. So this is an important meeting tomorrow. So a lot of things are going on tomorrow. Fed, Greece. And China. What else do you want? Oh, and earnings starting too. So that's why there's a lot of uncertainty. Don't be a hero. All right, so I'm going to sign out right here because anything I say past here, well, there are a couple of stocks I wanted to mention, and let's see here. Oh, one thing I wanted to mention actually is the TLT. You know how I've said for a while that we have an inverse relationship between markets and bonds. These are bonds. The bonds were crushed today and rates spiked. I expect that in rising markets. But intraday, during these falls, the bonds were also falling. And during rises, the bonds were also rising. So the inverse relationship that used to be tick for tick, one for one, inversely so, is breaking down, usually within the day, intraday. Usually those are signs that this one-to-one relationship is about to break apart. It takes a few days to develop, but you start seeing breakups within the day before it completely, you can't use it anymore. But for now, anyway, the TLT today was down, and obviously rates were up. We'll see what happens. It failed right here, the bonds, which is important. If the Greek solution comes, they'll get crushed. And also, I wanted to look at CMG. Chipotle had a good day today. Last time we drew it, I showed you this point right here. We were right here. And I said that, it's trading a descending channel, and it needs to break out of here and follow the bubbles if it does. And here it is following the bubbles. But it's at this green line. And this green line is pivotal. It's proven, support, 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 support until it wasn't. And now it's coming back at it from below. Will it become resistance again? I'm not sure. Well, so I need another candle to prove itself, but today had a fantastic day. If markets rally, it will rally. So consider it trading a descending channel that is kind of bullish because it wants to reach the upper end of it. If markets fall, it will fall. So don't be a hero there. Also, I looked at Intel for some reason. I'm not sure. I don't trade it anymore. But if I zoom out, you'll know. Playing with fire. What does this look like to you? Head and shoulders, right? And I bet you anything, if market's correct, Intel will be at 25 before we know it. I know that's pretty low, but hey, I'm just reading technically. I don't know anything about its fundamentals. Well, I do know, but not fundamentally speaking. Technically speaking, it's in danger. If it loses this, it's going to go down to here. Cyber, somebody mentioned it. The only reason I'm mentioning it because it's in the news. It being the industry, hacking, etc. This is an indecisive candle today, very indecisive. They didn't know what to do. They opened, they ran, they sold, they came back and closed it where they opened. It was up 4%, but look at this candle. It's up. It was up so much more. They left so much on the table. I'm not saying it's going down because of it. I'm just saying that they were buying and selling. They didn't. It's headline driven. And it's the fad of the day. I don't like to chase moves like that. And it seems like it's doing it on a spot that is pivotal. This is a resistance area where it failed before, except for that couple of ticks right there. And then it came at it, broke through it, bounced off of it, bounced off of it, bounced off of it, or is it going to fall? I don't know. If markets fall, it is likely to fall. If markets bounce in general, this one is a high flyer, will run fast. So I don't have any positions in it. I'm just commenting on it. But Apple is the one to talk about. If it loses this, and it did today, the white one, technically you can assume it's going to come down to here. But I'm not calling for it because the fundamentals have not changed that much, and I believe the company itself will jump in, and people like Icon and such will jump in. Anybody that missed the move from 100 on up, if markets hold up, will step in. But this is not scientifically drawn. I just put it there. So this could be an opportunity to enter, or this could be a disaster waiting to happen. I just don't believe that the fundamentals have changed so much so fast. Last time that happened, where all the sentiment switched, it was a couple of years ago when it fell from grace. And right here, whoops, I shouldn't have done that. Delete it. Okay, right here. When everybody, I love Apple, and then everybody decided, dwindling margins, et cetera, they sold it half. They cut it by 40%, and I took it long here. If the sentiment starts piling in like that, today it felt like it. People are singing the same tune. China, 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 China. I don't know exactly how much China is of the Apple dollar. And then the other little thing was the iWatch. Most people didn't have the iWatch in their models, so that's less of a risk. But if everybody starts singing this meme, then it might be in danger of falling out of grace, at least down to 100 or so. I'm not calling for it, but it sure can happen. All right, so Nick signing out. If you have any questions, if you're new, you don't understand what I'm talking about, message me. I don't mind answering questions. I answer them within minutes. I'm not like other people. I enjoy the interaction with you, so hit me up with messages.